Alright, hey guys, welcome back to the channel, Prado. Today's video is lower ball joints, which is obviously a huge topic and the major flaw of these cars entirely, as you should know if you have one yourself. Just regularly check on them because they are a common issue. Now, in this video, I swapped them over and changed them, but it wasn't easy and it wasn't a walk in the park. So I'm going to show you all the troubles and dramas I had, and hopefully by the end of the video you know how to do it and you can do it yourself. Now I'm excited to announce that right now I'm filming on a new camera. Now I've gone for, if you're interested, a Canon Mark II 50 EOS. Now it's the latest of the Canon and it's a mirrorless camera, and it's great for filming because if I come up here it should eventually autofocus on my face, and then if I go back here it should autofocus again. Now most cameras can obviously do that and phones, but the quality in this should be a lot better. And I've also got the Rode mic on here as well, so the setup's a lot nicer now and hopefully everything just looks a lot better. So this is my first test run with the camera, and then down the line I'll probably change the settings and figure out how to use it even better over time. So just a little investment for the channel. So hopefully the quality is better for you guys. Now another thing to note, half this video has actually been filmed on my phone, so you're not going to be able to, the footage will change, and maybe let me know if you can recognise when that is. Majority of it is when I'm under the car, but that's because back then I didn't have the new camera, so hopefully this is the better quality. Now also while we're here, you may notice something's missing here, the sun visor. Now I've actually taken that off. Now I just came from a camp from the Grampians, which was like a 3-day camp, and pretty much sadly one of the brackets had a little crack in it and it was starting to squeak and sort of move a little bit, and I could just replace that bracket, put it back on, no worries, but I think it's time to retire that look. Some people didn't like the sun visor, some people did. Now my parents had a sun visor on their old Ford Falcon, and they sort of think of them as more, you put them on like cheaper sort of old cars, when obviously I liked it because, you know, they're on the 79s and the 4 drives and all that sort of stuff. But mine, after being on here for over a year, was getting a little bit rusty and a little bit weathered, but it held up very well and very happy with it and how it performed. So I'll probably be putting that up for sale, and then someone can just you know, give it a bit of TLC and it should be good to go. And obviously it's a lot cheaper than you know, the $400 ones you buy on eBay. So that's gone, and hopefully not too many of you guys are upset about that. Alrighty, so as you know, if you get a long pry bar and the wheels in the air off a high lift jack and you pry it up and down, the lower ball joint, as I showed you in the last video, is moving. Now it's moving about like 2-3 mil, nothing crazy, not like 5 mil plus, but it is moving. And also the little rubber boot that's around it, it hasn't like cracked, but it's kind of very well damaged. And obviously the previous owner of this car didn't really take over at all, and also since I've owned it I haven't even looked at it. So put those numbers together, that one's been in there for a very long time and it's well overdue for a change. So hence why we're changing them, and that's generally how you know when they're about worn done. So if you're at home and you're like, oh no, I don't know if my ball joints need to be done or not, go at home, get to your Prado, lift up one side, get your pry bar, get it in there, or a big screwdriver, big flathead screwdriver, pry it open, and you should be able to tell how much it's moving, if it needs to go or not. Now, some other videos did also say that, you know, between like 1 and 3 mil is alright and not too bad, but just because I've got big tyres and the full driving I'm doing, I want it to be to its best ability, so I'm going to be changing them out. Okay, this is the old one. Ben managed to get up. Look at the damage in the seal there. This is the new one. Look at that. So much nicer.
It's not really damaged, by the way.
Oh, that's ugly. So now this video is filmed from the point of view everything's done. Now, as you can see here, the lower ball joint is in, and it's all well. Now we've got the steering arm up here, and as you can see, that's all been put on there correctly, and here's the lower ball joint through here. Now, obviously you can see it's a little bit dirty now, but it's a lot cleaner and newer compared to the other components. And also, putting this in was an absolute mission, and I reckon it was very hard and very difficult to do by myself, because 2 of the bolts snapped. There's 4 bolts here, there's 2 here, and there's 2 on the other side, and 2 of them completely snapped off, and half of it snapped inside of it. So Ben had to come along, get a welder, he did some fancy welding, he welded it onto the bolt that was inside or something, and then he managed to undo it out, which was very sneaky. Now, I don't know how to do any of that, so I was sort of stuffed until he came along. Now, the problem was that these two bolts here on the outside, you can see the top of the thread, it's right here. But the two on the inside, you actually can't get to the top of the thread, which means you can't spray lubricant or anything in there really to get it undone. And so when I cracked it with sheer force, all I did actually was crack the bolt in half. But then again, that was on that side, and then on this side, everything just seemed to sort of come off nicely. So maybe it just depends on how old your car is and how many mud holes you've gone through. So the general process to take one of these off yourself at home is to lift the car off the ground, take the wheel off, then, well before you do that, you want to sort of crack these 4 bolts down here under the lower ball joint, and then once you've done that, you then want to, like I said before, jack the car up, take the wheel off. Now you want to take these 4 bolts off first before you take the steering arm off, because otherwise you'll just have dramas and just be annoying when you undo it. So once you've done that, then it should all be able to just come off, and you should be able to slide the other one up in there. Now granted, like, this is obviously holding up a lot of the assembly, so your CV and all the upper control arm stuff here will sort of dangle and be in your way, but that's all right. And then another one, when you put in, similar concept, you're just going to put it in, put the bolts in, and try and put the top one in as well. Now, this to take off, you have to hammer this so much, but putting it on isn't as bad as long as you spray everything before with like WD-40. Now, on the passenger side, that was the side I broke the 2 bolts. Now, obviously, I haven't gone to a Wreckers or anything to replace the 2 bolts. I actually went to my local Super Cheap Auto and I bought bolts that were very, very similar. But the most important thing is they need to be high tensile, which pretty much means they're like car auto manufacturer spec and they're really strong and they'll last and do the job. So if you get those 2 bolts in that category, then you're sorted. And I was able to put those 2 back up in there and replace the factory bolts. Granted, the thread size and all that stuff was the same, but the actual head size was slightly different. But obviously that doesn't matter, it just needs to be able to strong and be able to do its job in there. So that side's got 2 old bolts, 2 new bolts. This side's got 4 of the old bolts, which are fine. Now, they're just my dramas. Hopefully you won't shear and snap your bolts like I did, because that's when the welder had to get involved, and that's when it gets a bit tricky. Now, you can get ball joint removers, and there's like special tools that are made to do this stuff, and they make it way easier and way faster. And I didn't do it. I didn't want to spend the money, but I don't know, it's almost worth it, because the amount of hours you're going to spend getting it off, you'd almost justify it paying a few $100s to get the special tools that will just get off in a few minutes. So that's probably my general advice after doing it myself. Okay, so in terms of an easy DIY, do it yourself, chuck the ball joints in and out. Can you do it? I'm not entirely sure. I would say no, but if you're more mechanical than me, then probably yes. It just depends how lucky you are. If I didn't snap those 2 bolts and everything still went my way and the bolts weren't so hard to get off, probably from when I rode through a mud hole, I think you could definitely do this on yourself, because it's very easy to look at. It's literally 5 bolts that are holding the ball joint up and 1 on the steering arm. So if you can take all that out, you're laughing. Now, but if you're in my case, if you've gone off-road a lot and you know personally your car's been through mud holes, and let's say you don't remember the last time they were replaced, which means they're over 5 years old, then I'd be skeptical that they'll be pretty much welded on there with the sheer dirt and rust and all that sort of stuff over the years. That's when you're going to worry about snapping bolts and stuff. So, easy DIY? No. Can you do it? Possibly. So, good luck if you do it yourself, and hopefully this video helps you out. And if you have any dramas, feel free to message me on Instagram and I'll get to you as soon as I can. Alright, now for pricing. I'll put a link in the description of this video, but they're actually not too expensive. For about 68 bucks, you can get 2 for the front. Now, there's other sellers as well, and they're all between, like, you know, the $100 and $70 range. So, pretty affordable. And obviously, if you do your mechanics, they'll probably, you know, they'll probably charge up a bit and make it a bit more expensive. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, these aren't genuine Toyota lower ball joints. These are just another brand, and they said they had a 3-year warranty, and I was like, that's pretty good. And obviously they're a lot cheaper because of that. But I've seen a lot of forums, and a lot of them were saying, don't buy non-Toyota brand, get genuine Toyota, it will do its job. And I also agree with that, but also I'm not a millionaire and I'm not gonna spend more money when I can sort of not have to, sort of thing. So I'm gonna give these ones a try. 3 years later, they're still on, worth it. If they're not still on, then don't do it, okay? So let me be the test dummy for you guys. Now, they're on the car now. I've got 35-inch tires, almost a 5-inch lift, theoretically. So, like, these are gonna get worn harder than your average Prado, okay? So they lasting on these big tires, all that stress, I think they'll last on a normal sort of 33s 2-inch lift Prado, okay? So hope you guys understand that. And like I said before, they're affordable and they're still a brand with a 3-year warranty, so should be alright, fingers crossed. Okay guys, that pretty much wraps up today's video. Now, I've gone through as best as I can trying to explain what's going on, and a lot of it wasn't filmed because Ben was sort of in a rush and we had to just quickly get the job done, so there was no time to get the camera out. But hopefully the new camera quality is good. Let me know down below if it's any different, and hopefully there is a difference because the camera's expensive, so hopefully it's better than the phone. And then yeah, hopefully you know how these sort of work now and you get a better idea how it works. So I'll link the ones that you want to get in the description down below, the lower ball joints. And yeah, maybe after this video you'll go outside and shape the lower ball joints on your own car, and don't, you know, do an epic fail and avoid, you know, caving your whole wheel in and damaging the whole front end. So that's it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to check out my website, buy some merch, support me, really helps a lot. And I think we'll catch you guys next time on Built Prado. Cheers.